Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for being here this morning. Thank you, Supervisor Nora Vargas, for convening her and all the work her team put into helping us be here together. So last Friday, I was in Washington, D.C., about to vote on historic gun violence prevention legislation when I saw the shameful and devastating news that the Supreme Court had overturned Roe v. Wade, bucking decades of precedent to remove the constitutional right to an abortion. I literally started shaking with anger, with rage, because as a young woman, as one of the few women of reproductive age in Congress, and as the only woman to represent San Diego in Congress, this decision is personal. This decision is that I'm going to have fewer rights than my mother and my grandmother did, and my children might have even less. This decision says that 6 radical justices think they know more about my healthcare needs than I do. I'm angry about the impacts that this ruling will have on some of the most vulnerable members of our society, including low-income women and people of color. And I'm angry that it even got to this. That we even had to rely on the Supreme Court for our rights instead of Congress doing our job and codifying Roe v. Wade into law once and for all. So like many people here in San Diego and across the country, I am angry and I am furious. But let's be clear. This is not the time to let our anger turn into frustration and giving up, as tempting as that is, and it is tempting. This is the time to fight, because the post-Roe era is not going to look like the pre-Roe era. This is not the same fight our grandmothers fought, and we are going to need everyone doing our part to get this done. So what does that mean, and what do we need to do? Well, first, we in Congress need to codify Roe v. Wade into law. We already passed that in the House, and now it's time for the Senate to get rid of the filibuster and pass it through. No more excuses, no more putting an arcane rule that's not even in the Constitution above our fundamental rights. Second, we need to protect the right of people to cross state lines to access abortions and ensure people everywhere can continue receiving life-saving abortion pills like mifepristone, and I'm so grateful for everything our leaders here in California and San Diego are doing to make sure this is a safe haven for people who need that care. And as important as what we are doing here in California is, we know that if Republicans get in power, they are going to pass a federal abortion ban, so it is not enough. Third, we have to understand the far-reaching privacy implications of this decision. Unlike in the 1960s, we now have a vast digital surveillance architecture that can be used to track people seeking abortion. In 2022, we rely on our devices and apps and websites to look for information, to seek support from our loved ones, and to help us manage our reproductive health care. So we need policies that reflect today's world. That's why earlier this month I introduced the My Body, My Data Act, legislation to protect personal reproductive health data. I, like millions of Americans, use a period tracking app. And it's unconscionable to think that data from these apps, from search engines, could be sold to the highest bidder and used against us. The My Body, My Data Act will protect information from being disclosed and misused, and it will create a new national standard to protect personal reproductive health data. And lastly, we need to not be caught flat-footed. We know that this is only one part of the extreme right-wing agenda that they are pushing. We know, based on Justice Thomas's concurrence, that they want to overturn Griswold's protection to contraception, Obergefell's right to marry who you love, and so much more. So we need to immediately codify these rights before that happens. I know how bleak and hopeless things feel right now. I feel it too. And I know how tired we all are of the same words being said over and over again when nothing changes. Because the fact of the matter is, words are not enough anymore. It's time for action. And to all of the women and young people and queer people and trans people who are watching, who are wondering and feeling what this decision means for them, for what this means for what their country thinks of them, know that I feel it too, and you are not alone. This is the beginning of the fight, not the end. And we won't stop fighting until every person in every state has access to fundamental rights. And we're going to win.